This conversation is for you guys, all right? You can read my story on my website, so if there's things you want to know about my life, I'm happy to share with you. The point of this exercise is you guys are dealing with positive people on a day-to-day basis. How do you deal with them? What are the complications that you come up against? What are the brick walls that you hit? What do you say when someone's CD4 count is at 2? And how do you keep them encouraged to make sure they're compliant? So this conversation is for you, it's not for me. My story is an easy story to tell. I was diagnosed. I've lived with HIV for 29 years. There's a whole story behind that, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to support you in the work you're doing in your outreach to the people who are positive. So this truly is about you and your needs, not about me and my story. Does that make sense?
Anytime you want to ask a question,
just jump in.
Put up your hand, ask it, and I'll hand over to you.
Cool. Thanks so much, Joe. Appreciate it. So, my name's David Patient. As Joe said, I'm one of the longest diagnosed people alive today living with HIV. I was diagnosed on the 13th of March, 1983. So those of you who can add up, it's almost 30 years since my diagnosis. I was given 6 months to live, and I decided after numerous suicide attempts to try and kill myself that I actually wanted to live. And then I started to study up on how people, not so much with HIV, but people with cancer, how they survived, what did they do in order to stay alive. And I simply started to copy those models. And over the course of the years, as we've now learned through understanding how the immune system works, people with cancer need to be doing exactly the same thing as people with HIV. Why? Because it affects the same side of the immune system. So a person living with HIV can follow the cancer protocols, which is where we get all our treatment from nowadays. When people are taking ARVs, all they're doing is taking chemotherapy in a pill form. That's all it is. Okay. So rather than me sit here and bore you for the next couple of hours about who I am and my sob story and all the drama around that, what I would be more interested in is serving you and having questions asked, because if you've got the question, there's a strong possibility somebody else has got the question. Also, complications and problems that you're having with clients. Maybe you don't know how to answer a question. Maybe sometimes you feel powerless in a situation. You can't give encouragement because you don't know how. Let's have those conversations. All right, so let's kick off. Who's got the first question? Don't make me work. I didn't drive all this way to hear myself speak. So come, I know you've got a question. Go.
One of the challenges I experience is my clients are very hesitant to start ARVs.
Okay.
Disfigures them. What are the side effects?
Well, the reason why, first of all, not all ARVs cause side effects. It's based on how soon you start your antiretrovirals. If you start your antiretrovirals when you have a CD4 count of 350 and above, or within the 350 range, chances are you will experience no side effects whatsoever. All right? What happens is the lower and the weaker your immune system becomes, the CD4 count drops and the viral load starts to go up. The quicker those two start to change, the more complications you're going to have, because what's happening, and we see this mostly with our male client base, and I'm sure you will follow what I'm saying on this, is the men wait until the very last moment before they come forward and they get any help. So their CD4 count is at 2, their viral load sitting at 65 million plus. All right? At that point in time, I can't put you on first-line therapy. I can only put you on a salvage therapy or one of the more advanced protocols. Those advanced protocols are the ones that cause the side effects. So the key in our conversations with our clients is early intervention. The sooner you are physically prepared to go on the antiretrovirals, CD4 count of 350 and below, and if you go on at that particular juncture, there's a strong possibility you will never have any side effects. That's the first thing. The second thing is you can stay on those drugs. Like I've been on my drugs for 9.5 years. I haven't had to change my protocol at all. Why? Number one, I've got a very healthy liver. Number two, I started the drugs when I was supposed to start the drugs. I didn't wait until I was on death's door. So I started on the first line therapy of intervention. So I started with the baby drugs, you know, like a bicycle with training wheels. That's what I'm on. And I've been on them for 9.5 years. And the way I'm going currently, I probably won't need to change for another 15 years, 20 years. My life expectancy on this family of drug, because I started at the appropriate time, is 26 years on those drugs before I need to change. So the side effects come about when people wait too long to get on the drugs. Now, we can't stop those people, but what we can do is in our education of our clients. When somebody calls you and they get a policy and you start the whole coaching process around getting your CD4 counts monitored every 6 months and your viral load and all that stuff, now you start having that conversation. And the conversation is your CD4 count is starting to go down. There's no reason to be alarmed. We just need to be aware of it. Also be aware that your CD4 count fluctuates hour by hour. So I can test you at 8 o'clock this morning and your CD4 count will be about 800. I can test you this afternoon at 4 o'clock and it'll be down to about 550. And you're going to go, oh my God, I'm dying. Oh. No, you're not. Your immune system goes through cycles. All right? So what we also recommend is the clients need to go at the same time every time they go for a CD4 count. So go at 9 o'clock in the morning and make that part of your protocol, and that way you can establish a baseline. Because some clients will go in the morning, they'll go in the afternoon, and then there's this huge fluctuation in the CD4 count, and then they go into this complete panic, and nobody can explain to them why. So please encourage your clients, number one, to go at the same time every time for their CD4 count. Number two, start your drugs at 350. Don't wait until 200, all right? Government's protocols are now changing. They're now looking at the 350, and they're implementing that in a lot of the primary healthcare clinics. Private insurance companies have been doing 350 for years, and that's why you find there's so little defaulting in the private world versus the government world. For two very, very different realities. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
In a very roundabout kind of way, but it's, I can't just answer the question with a one-liner. I've got to give you a context into which it exists.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. One behind there, and then we're okay.
Yes, you have shared very important points with us with regard to starting to take the antiretroviral therapy as early as possible. But now, when you speak to someone who tells you that my CD4 count is below 200,